One of the participants is sharing their screen. I don't know why that's possible, but um, maybe you can check. Some of you is sharing their screen. Ah, okay, now it's okay. Spotlight for everyone. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's Zen and Zazen class. Today is one of the Mondays where we will talk about Sawaki Roshi's To You. But before that, let's sit together for half an hour.
我们今天继续读那个《To You》那本书，然后前面有30分钟坐禅。
Thank you for joining. So today I want to talk about Kodo Sawaki's quotes. In the printed book version, we are on page 27. The first quote is a little bit longer, but let me read it. It's no small matter to be born into this world of a human being. So what a shame it would be if you went crazy and ended up in an asylum, or if you constantly complained about having no money, or if you lost your mind because you'd fallen in love and then were completely overcome with grief because she left you, and so forth and so forth. Now that you've been born as a human being, you should lead a life which is truly worth living. And let me also read the next quote, which is only one sentence. The next one is very short. Buddhism teaches us that it's a joy to be born into this world as a human being. So this second one, this one sentence might be a little bit surprising to some people, because probably you heard that Buddhism teaches that life is suffering. So why does Sawaki Roshi here say that Buddhism says it's joy? It means joy to be born into this world of human beings. I think one explanation can be that according to Buddhism, there are 6 different realms. The lowest one is hell. Then there are the hungry ghosts. They are always driven by desire, but it can never be fulfilled. Then there's animals. They are kind of driven by their instincts. Hunger, drive for sex, and then they sleep. The 4th realm is the fighting demons, or I think in Tibetan Buddhism actually they are higher than the humans, but here I think both in China and Japan they are ranked lower. And the 5th realm is the human beings, and then there's one on top of the human beings which are heavenly beings. But Buddhism actually teaches it's a great privilege to be born as a human being, because if you're born in heavens there's no suffering. And because there's no suffering, you're always absorbed in the game, so to speak. You never really return to this present moment. While in the lower realms, your suffering is so big that you don't really have the space, the inner space, to just return here and sit and ask yourself, why am I here? What is this life about? So that's a privilege of us human beings, that we have suffering, but we can't ask for the reason of that suffering. We can reflect on our way of life. And we have the privilege of being able to study Buddhism. In none of the other realms that's possible. So I think that's why Sawaki Roshi said it's not a small matter. Actually, there's this metaphor in old Buddhist sutras that says the chance to be born into this world as a human being is as big as you have this kind of small ring, maybe the size of a donut, floating on somewhere in the Pacific or Indian Ocean. And every 100 years or so, there's a sea turtle driving up. And now you can think, how big is the chance that that sea turtle by chance will pop up just in the center of that donut-shaped ring. You don't know where the turtle will go up, and you don't know where in the ocean the ring is floating. And so in the old sutras they say the chance to be born into this world as a human being is just as big as that the turtle will pop up exactly in the center of that donut ring. So about 0, more or less 0. The chance that you are born into this world as a human being was 0, but it happened. You are here. You are here as a human being. And actually you encountered the Buddha way. You are able to meditate. You are able to reflect on your own way of life because you're suffering, but you're not in hell. You're not in hell. You have food, you have shelter, you have something to drink. you feel kind of miserable sometimes, but you can ask yourself, why is that? Where does this dissatisfaction come from? But before I go on, Xuan-san, if you like, please, if you could translate.
老师刚才讲了，其实2个部分，我简单给大家就是翻译一下啊。其实根本就无所谓，我们生在这个世界上作为一个人，是一个特别小的一个特别是是一个特别小的概率。我们作为人生在这个世界上，所以如果你变得很疯狂，或者是你进了疯人院之后，就会觉得非常的自责，因为我们有的时候可能会抱怨没有金钱，或者是你失去了你的意识，或者是你失去了你所要的想有的想法。就是当你和一个人，当你坠入爱河的时候，你可能会当你坠入爱河的，因为你坠入了爱河，或者是当你坠入爱河的时候，你可能会抱怨你失去了金钱，或者是你失去你自己原有的意识。因为你爱的那个人离开了你，你可能特别的失望。而当你就是走过这个失望和伤心的时候，你其实还是会往前走的，就是你不会因为这个特别痛苦而停下，你还是会往前走的。然后现在我们生而为人，我们作为一个人出生在这个世界上，应该是应该是真正的意义来引导你往前走。你的生命应该有一个真正有意义的事情引导你往前走的，有价值的、有意义的往前走的。然后下一个就是简单的翻译是佛祖他教导我们，我们生而为一个作为人就是出生在这个世界上，是一件非常喜悦的事情。老师刚才讲，其实为什么大家可能听过，就是有一些经文可能讲到这个世界是痛苦的，我们每个人都要经历痛苦，每个人就是每个人都会是痛苦的。那为什么泽木老师在这儿说我们作为人要有喜悦之情呢？好像和之前那些经文是相反的。然后老师说，其实泽木老师的角度是不一样的，就是我们讲的六道，对吧？6道轮回，然后有什么牲畜那几个道，就是我们作为人道其实是很幸运的，因为你作为人出生在这个世界上，你不是别的道，比如你不是在地狱里面，你也不是恶鬼，对吧？你不是别的道，然后你也不是在天堂，因为如果你在天堂的话，没有痛苦，你就很难体会到痛苦之后那个快乐，你可能就很难体会到幸福。生命就是如果没有痛苦的话，我们很难反思和真正看到你生命的价值。之前老师刚才提到有一个经文，就是讲到我们出生，然后变成现在就是你作为人而出生到这个世界上，就好像有那个乌龟的头刚好穿进一个甜甜圈一样，就是这个概率是特别小的。就好像就刚好那个乌龟的头穿到甜甜圈里面。我们可以坐禅，然后呢，我们还可以有生命，可以经历痛苦，是因为我们其实你应该是很幸运的，你不是在地狱，我们是生而为人，在这个世界上。就是老师，我的理解啊，就老师好像说，其实泽木老师就是说，我们应该觉得幸运，就是而且应该觉得有痛苦是幸运的一件事情，因为我们可以反思，而且他讲到了刚才其实概率是特别小的，他讲到有6道嘛，大概是这个意思啊，看老师后面怎么说啊。
Okay, thank you. So basically, Sawaki Roshi says the chance that you're born as a human being was more or less zero, but now you're born into this world. well, missed your chance. Don't waste that chance. Don't get lost in the game. This one sentence, and I think he was saying similar things before. Don't lose your mind because you just fall in love, and then you're completely overcome with grief because she left you. I think at the time, so before the war and soon after the war, there were quite a lot of people killing themselves. Some because they were brokenhearted, but some because at the time you didn't marry the person that you love, but most marriages were arranged by the parents. So if you happen to fall in love with a person, but your parents had decided, no, that's not the person you're going to marry, it's a different one. Basically, the only two choices you had is, am I going to play the game that my parents want me to play, or do I choose to commit suicide? And I think he's kind of also referring to things like that. Don't let yourself drive crazy. And well, as a Buddhist monk, you could also say, before you commit suicide, why don't you become a monk? Why don't you just leave home, leave society, and become a Zen monk? That's much better than to kind of waste this one chance. And I'm one of those Buddhists who say, I'm not sure if there's life after death or not. I would be completely happy to have another chance, but if there's no life after death, I would maybe even be happier, because then I'm in nirvana. But even if there's life after death, you can't be sure that you're going to be reborn as a human being. So use this one life. And if you have a second one, use that again, but you can't be sure that it's going to be alive in the human realm. So I think that's the point that Sawaki Roshi wants to make today. And maybe after Xuan translates, if you have an opinion you want to share, or if you have questions, please feel welcome to do so.
刚刚老师其实就是前面的，他又做了一个引申，就是说泽木老师其实在提醒我们，不要在你生命的这些游戏当中迷失，不要因为你失去了爱人，或者是别人失去了你，而失去你自己本来的意识。像有些人可能失去爱人之后就自杀，或者是比如以前日本也是指腹为婚哈，就是可能比如说你想要一段婚姻不是你自己选的，然后有些人就变得特别痛苦。其实泽木老师这两个格言哈，他这两段其实是告诉大家不要失去你现在难得的机会。然后老师说，其实他从他的角度来说，你其实不知道你就是你在从轮回的时候会变成什么，也没准你到地狱之后没有那么痛苦，也没准你在地狱之后就马上涅槃了呢，不一定说不一定你轮回到还是这个世界，还是这一道，还变成人，没准你到地狱之后反而涅槃了，也不一定。老师刚才其实他补充了他一点的一个见解，大家有问题可以跟老师交流，然后可以跟老师提问啊。
Okay, is there anything you would like to share or that you would like to ask? If there's something, then please do so. Chris, you want to share something?
Okay, I have a question about quitting the game.
Yes.
And so I think it's not so easy to do. And I was thinking about this the last few days, is that maybe the concept of trying to, I think the Mahayana concept of the Bodhisattva. So if I try to meditate and get something, I'm missing the point. And it's hard to get out of that cycle. So if I instead focus my purpose of trying to save other people, then in a way I'm wishing for something, but I'm maybe like short-circuiting the game, and then maybe that's kind of like a hack to escape the game. So, but then I'm trying to think about how, when I'm sitting in Zazen, though, how it's hard for me to imagine how that will actually help other people. Yes, that's my question.
Mm, I heard at least two questions there. I mean, the last question, how can I help other people by just sitting? That's a valid question. And I think actually just sitting is not enough. The Buddha, according to legend, after he found enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, he felt there's no need to get up and teach. But then, after all, he got up and taught. And if he hadn't, he would probably have entered nirvana. But today we wouldn't be here. So to quit the game, one shortcut is to just sit and let go. Even then it's difficult. That's what you said in the beginning. It's difficult to just quit the game for at least two reasons. One is, since we can, all the time we can think back until maybe the age of 3 or 4. We've been playing that game. We've been always comparing ourselves to our siblings in class. When we enter puberty, who's most liked by the girls, by the boys. Since we can think back, since we can remember, we've been playing this game. So we're conditioned to play that game. It's what some people call karma. So there's karma, and also if you want to, well, pay the bills, you have to play the game. So even if you realize, I've been playing this stupid game and I don't want to anymore, who's gonna pay the bills? But I mean, if you just sit for half an hour, you can quit the game for half an hour. If you take 5 days Antaji style session, you can quit the game for these 5 days. It's not so easy, because even then in your mind, you continue to play the game. And then, well, if you, how do you say no, how liberating it is to quit the game, to stop comparing, to stop winning against the others, then probably most of us, we feel somehow an urge, or maybe you could say just some compassionate feeling that you want to share that. Your life changes. You're a different person now. You're not a prisoner anymore. But you want to communicate that to others. And at that moment, just sitting is not enough anymore. Just sitting in your room is not enough anymore. So you want to share that with others, communicate that. And you can do that in a lot of ways. I mean, you can invite others to sit with you. You can join a study group like this. You can do social action. That's something that Buddhists are not very strong at, but people do that, like Thich Nhat Hanh, do something for peace. There's lots of ways to also practice as a Buddhist bodhisattva when you get off the cushion. But if we only do that, I feel there's the danger that we run out of energy, so to speak. If we kind of think, I have no time to sit anymore because I need to help humanity, I have to save the planet, then it becomes a new game, saving the planet game, helping society game. I think at the end of the day, it's nice to have at least 15 minutes, maybe if you have the privilege, 30 minutes, even 1 hour, to even forget about the planet, forget about humanity, and just sit. And only if you allow yourself that time to even forget about humanity for a certain amount of time during the day, then you have the energy when Zazen is over to get off the cushion and think about humanity, or not only humanity, but all suffering beings. I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what I got from your feedback. Good, thank you. Anything else that you would like to share or ask? Nothing? That's perfect. Because I think when we started this Monday group, I think in the beginning Xuan said from 8 to 8:50, but we never stop at 8:50. It's always 9, sometimes it's even 9:15. So if you have no more questions, we can finish now. We don't have to continue until past 9. Next time we get back to Dogen Zenji Fukanza Zengi, the instruction for Zazen. And I think we will come to that point where he's talking about the dragon diving into the water and the tiger strolling through the mountains. So getting back into your element. And getting back into the element, of course, means to return to the here and now. We're always here, but in our mind, we're somewhere else. And Zazen means that the mind returns to, well, the body also. The dragon diving into the water is like the mind returning to the body. Oh, that was my body. I was here. But that will be the topic of next week. So thank you for joining, and thank you to Xuan-san for hosting us. If you like, see you at the same address, same time next Monday. Have a nice week. Thank you.